Mishnah Torah, Hilchos, the laws of Shar Avot haTum'ah, the balance of the laws regarding major sources, primary sources of impurity. Perek Chamisha, chapter 15. Chapter 15 is a continuation of chapter 14, where in paragraph 1 of chapter 14, he enumerated 12 sfeikas, 12 doubtful situations. Because of the doubt, our sages determined that in these doubtful situations, the ruling is tohar, pure, as compared to impure because of the doubt. And we began to define some of those, and he continues down the list. And we are on item number 5, or E, in the previous list. Chapter 15, 1. Sofik divrei seifrim keitzad. If there is a doubt in any law which is described as a rabbinic ordinance, a law instituted by the sages as compared to a Torah or biblical law. Whenever there's a doubt with regard to a law instituted by our sages as to whether something happened or not, the ruling is it didn't happen. For example, Sofek ochal ocholin tmeim, the sages instituted that food that becomes defiled or drinks that become defiled also defile a human, a person, even though biblically they don't. What if one is not sure whether one consumed defiled food? One is not sure whether one drank defiled drinks. Sopik sheleyachal v'shelei shosa, he may have and he may not have, which means we're not sure about the facts. Or a similar rabbinic law, which we learned earlier. The rabbis instituted that if somebody immerses in 3 lugin of drawn water, humanly drawn water, or 3 lugin fell upon him like shower-like, then by rabbinic law he's considered impure, because that's what people started to do after mikvah. So people began to think that's the mikvah experience. So the rabbis decreed that it should be a rabbinic decree, that it should be affected by a rabbinic decree of impurity. And here in this case he's not sure whether he did or he didn't. He's not sure whether his head and the majority of his body immersed in drawn water, meaning drawn in a container by a human being. Or did 3 lugin of drawn water fall upon him, or perhaps he did not immerse in the water, and perhaps it did not fall, so the metzias, the actuality, is in doubt. Did he or didn't he? Harei zeh toher, being that he's doubtful as to whether he put himself in a scenario which would be affected by a rabbinic decree, the rule is he is considered pure. So also, if he ate or drank impure or defiled food or liquid, or he did enter into this water that was drawn by a human being in a container, and the scenario where water fell upon him, they did fall upon him. However, the doubt here is, did he then touch some pure item or did he not touch it? So that's the doubt. In other words, he is doubtfully rabbinically impure. Harei taharis elu taharis, or tahiris, the pure objects which were concerned as to whether he touched or not. The ruling is they are pure because of the doubt in a rabbinic condition. And so also we learned earlier that there was a decree of our our sages ruled that you can't eat and drink foods that are impure. What if one is unsure whether one ate or drank foods that are impure? He is pure, because he's not sure. So also there was truma, Kohen food. One is not sure whether it became defiled or not, so it's in suspense, and he ate it. Toher is considered pure. This would be a ruling that all similar scenarios, from the derivatives of states of impurity, which are rabbinic impurity, Sveikam, their doubtful application, which means perhaps it happened, perhaps it didn't happen, Toher is ruled as pure. Now the Rambam concludes paragraph 1 with a very strong statement. However, haTum'ah, this all applies to derivative forms, secondary forms of impurity, but a primary source of impurity, even though it's a rabbinic primary source of impurity, but it's primary. Its doubt would be considered impure, unless the primary source itself was doubtful. What would be an example of a rabbinic decree where the primary source itself is doubtful? Beis hapros. We talked multiple times earlier, as well as in the last chapter, about a beis hapros. A beis hapros is a large open field in which there was certainly a corpse. Somebody went and plowed over that field. Now perhaps there is a piece of the corpse in the particular area in the field where this person touched. Perhaps there isn't, because the body was presumably plowed over, so it's all over the place. Is there a piece, a bone or bone fragment big enough to be considered large enough to defile? So here the question is there or isn't there? There's a possibility that there isn't. Or the Eretz Ha'amim, or lands of the nations, where the question is there